Hi, I'm Mr. Financial Freedom. Today, we're diving into the 10 biggest single trade profits in history. These aren't just big wins, they're legendary moments where a single move made hundreds of millions or even billions. Each story shows the power of timing, guts, and genius. We'll start at the smaller end and build all the way up to the single biggest trade that ever shook the financial world. Trust me, you want to stick around for number 1. It's mind-blowing. Number 10. Andy Krieger. In 1987, Andy Krieger was a young trader at Bankers Trust. Right after the stock market crash known as Black Monday, most people were terrified and stepping back. But Krieger was hunting for opportunity. He noticed something unusual. The New Zealand dollar was trading way higher than it should have been, considering the country's economy. Using huge leverage, he shorted the currency. In fact, he took on a position bigger than the entire money supply of New Zealand. This was a huge risk. But when the New Zealand dollar plummeted, Krieger's bold bet paid off big time. His trade made $300 million in profits. That's a jaw-dropping payday for a single currency trade. Number 9. Michael Burry. Michael Burry wasn't your typical hedge fund manager. A former neurologist turned investor, he had a knack for digging deep into data. In the early 2000s, Burry saw something no one else did. The housing market was built on shaky foundations. Subprime mortgages were ticking time bombs waiting to explode. Most investors ignored the warning signs, but Burry bet against the housing market by buying credit default swaps on mortgage-backed securities. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, his position skyrocketed, earning $700 million for his fund. His story later inspired The Big Short, showing how a quiet outsider took on the entire system and won. Number 8. Paul Tudor Jones. Paul Tudor Jones is famous for his market instincts and timing. In 1987, he saw signals in the market that reminded him of 1929. A crash was coming. He bet heavily against the stock market using futures contracts. On Black Monday, October 19, 1987, the Dow Jones dropped 22% in one day. While most investors suffered massive losses, Jones' fund made around $1 billion in profits from that one trade. It was a masterclass in reading the market and acting decisively before the crowd. Number 7. George Soros. In 1992, George Soros made history with a single trade known as Black Wednesday. Soros realized the British pound was overvalued within the European exchange rate mechanism and bet heavily against it by shorting the currency. Despite efforts by the UK government to defend the pound, Soros's trade overwhelmed the system. The UK was forced to withdraw the pound from the mechanism, and Soros pocketed $1 billion in profit in just one day. This trade cemented Soros' reputation as one of the greatest traders ever. Number 6. Jim Simons. Jim Simons is not your typical trader. He's a mathematician and former codebreaker who founded Renaissance Technologies, one of the most successful hedge funds ever. Instead of relying on gut feelings, Simons used complex algorithms and massive amounts of data to spot tiny, repeatable patterns in the market. While his gains come from thousands of trades in 2014, his personal income from the fund was $1.2 billion. Essentially, the result of his algorithms executing a huge number of winning trades flawlessly. Simons revolutionized finance by making math the main player in trading. Number 5. Jesse Livermore. Jesse Livermore was a pioneer trader in the early 20th century who made fortunes by reading market psychology. His greatest single trade came in 1929 when he correctly predicted the stock market crash that triggered the Great Depression. By shorting stocks heavily before the collapse, Livermore earned $100 million, which, when adjusted for inflation, is worth over $1.5 billion today. Livermore's legacy lives on as a symbol of courage and insight in trading. Number 4. Bill Ackman. In early 2020, Bill Ackman made a prescient and hugely profitable trade during the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. While most investors were scrambling to understand the impact, Ackman publicly warned of an economic collapse and quietly placed a $27 million hedge against corporate credit risk. When markets crashed, that hedge exploded in value, turning into $2.6 billion in just weeks. Ackman's timely move turned fear into fortune and showed the value of swift, bold action in a crisis. Number 3. Stanley Druckenmiller. Stanley Druckenmiller was the chief strategist behind George Soros's famous Black Wednesday trade, and a legendary trader in his own right. He also bet heavily on Germany's currency during the reunification, predicting a surge in economic growth. His trades earned an estimated $3 billion. Known for his intuition and discipline, Druckenmiller's moves often set the pace for markets. Number 2. David Tepper. During the 2008 financial crisis, David Tepper made one of the boldest moves in hedge fund history. While others were dumping bank stocks, Tepper bet big that the government would rescue the financial system. He bought massive stakes in troubled banks at rock-bottom prices. When the government bailout pushed the markets back up, Tepper's fund made $7 billion in profits. An unprecedented windfall. His courage to swim against the tide paid off in the biggest way possible. Number 1. John Paulson. John Paulson made history with what's considered the biggest single trade profit ever. In the mid-2000s, he identified the housing bubble just like Burry, but took an even bigger position, betting against subprime mortgage securities with credit default swaps. He quietly built one of the largest bets ever placed against the housing market. When the bubble burst in 2007 to 2008, Paulson's fund made $15 billion in profits. This trade changed the game and made Paulson a Wall Street legend. There you have it. The 10 biggest single trades in history, from hundreds of millions to mind-blowing billions. If you want more stories like this, more finance secrets, and real lessons from the legends, hit subscribe. I'm Mr. Financial Freedom. Thanks for watching.